February 12th, I was driving down to Mesquite. All of a sudden, something hit me. I was wearing my seatbelt this time, and all my airbags deployed, and for a second time, I was cut out of my vehicle. And for a second time, I was life-flighted. And for a second time, I survived. So January 16th of 2006, I was involved in a single car rollover in the snow. My truck rolled 3 times and I didn't have my seatbelt on. My phone was ringing and vibrating in my pocket and I couldn't feel the vibration. And I knew instantly that I was paralyzed. And that fear, it was overwhelming. And I was 30 years old and I just started crying, and right then I wanted to die. I did not want to live a life in a wheelchair. I no longer knew who I was. I didn't identify with a wheelchair. I was big and strong and ran and hiked and were all these things, and now I was no longer those things. Well, after I got hurt, I did the best to destroy my marriage because I did not want my wife married to a cripple, married to someone who's handicapped. I thought, you know, she didn't sign up for this, for a guy in a wheelchair. And so I said the meanest things and anything to get her to leave me. And she loved me through that. So I was a T12 complete spinal cord injury, and I qualified for certain therapies. I didn't qualify for other therapies, and at that time all I wanted to do was walk. And we went to work. We went to work for 5 years, every single day, doing therapy. And I regained the ability to do things that they can't explain. And I know that I'm in control of my attitude and my effort. No matter what happens, we're all in control of our attitude and effort. I have the ability now to come into a patient's room that has an acute injury and literally roll in and tell them it's going to be okay. Like, I can tell you it with 100% certainty, it's going to be okay. Life's going to be different, but you'll still be able to do all the things that you ever did before. You'll just do them a little different. And I do everything that I did before. I surf, I snow ski. There's not a thing I can't do. I'm alive. So today, it's much easier to deal with this accident because we dealt with paralysis 15 years ago. And we're not having to deal with that. We're not having to deal with the loss of my legs and the loss of that individual. I destroyed a lot of things through my addiction, and overcoming that addiction was the toughest thing I've ever done in my life. Much, much harder than paralysis. Much harder than paralysis. So before my first accident, I had not touched any type of drug. I was the straight and narrow kid. When I was discharged from the LDS hospital back in '06, they sent me home with a drug called Oxycontin. And I didn't know about this drug. All I knew is that it took my pain away, and I didn't want to be in pain. And I knew that I would take this drug before I did therapies so that I could push my body hard, and I became an addict. And I abused pain medication for 5 years, and I'm very much an addict still today. Up until my second accident, I hadn't touched an opiate in 8 years. And after the second accident, my biggest fear was to get addicted again and to have that power over me. And I think it would take another addict to understand what I'm going to say next. You know, as soon as they gave me that drip, it was just saying hi to an old friend. And I'm not strong enough to beat it, not on my own. And I know that. When it comes to pain lets you know you're alive. And so many times we try to get away from pain. We don't want to be in pain. And I just believe we do the most growth through pain. And if I'm so medicated that I push myself to where I hurt myself, and I don't know that I'm hurting myself because I'm so medicated, then the pain pill isn't serving me. So pain's my friend. Pain lets me know when I have more to give. Pain lets me know when I need to back off. Pain lets me know I'm alive. So today, it's much easier to deal with this accident because we dealt with paralysis 15 years ago. And we're not having to deal with that. We're not having to deal with the loss of my legs and the loss of that individual. We have a motto in our family that came from Scott Gillespie: dig in, dig deep, and get it done. I guess I'm just built for this, you know? I'm ready to do it again.
The mission of the Neuro Rehab Unit is to bring people back to their function. Normally patients have had some kind of event happen in their life, and it's all about gaining function back. They might be doing things in a different way, but they'll be doing things, bringing them back to life.
We knew what he is going to be doing when he goes home. So he needed to practice hard things within the restrictions so that when he gets in whatever situation he's going to get into until those restrictions are lifted, that he's been challenged, and that we know that he can do a transfer in a multitude of situations and environments.
When somebody has an injury and they're not able to function, there's a significant amount of weakness that can occur in a very short period of time, and that's for a normal person without a spinal cord injury. So Matt's now been incapable of using his lower legs for quite a while, and so the strength that he had before, his ability to transfer on his own, has been significantly compromised. I'm confident that he's going to be able to regain back what he had before because he has the will to do that. It's just going to take time.
Well, I like to think that we're progressive, and we have some unique ideas when it comes to how a person progresses through the stages of recovery and the gaining of function. I think by and large, if you were to look across the country in therapy in general, that there tends to be oversimplification of that concept, is that therapy happens by doing clever little exercises and clever stretches and not necessarily practicing the functions and the intricacies of those functions that brings a person back to the competent execution of those functional activities.
We really are thinking outside the box. There's things we do with patients that most people wouldn't even attempt because they're thinking, oh, you can't do that. I never prejudge what we can and can't do with a patient, or depending on what they want to get to and what they want to do. We may have to be creative and adapt it if they have certain restrictions. But people want to get back to life. They want to make life be meaningful, not just existing.
One of the big strengths I think that we have is we've got an excellent team of therapists, nurses, physicians, social work, anyway, you name it. Everyone on the team has been, when we're looking at hiring people, we make sure that they're proficient in their skill and they know what they're doing, but there's a big emphasis on making sure that they have good people skills. And I think that really comes through, patients come through our unit all the time and say, wow, I've never been in a place like this before. It feels different. It doesn't feel like a gloomy hospital. I love the environment, I love the people. And I think that goes a long way in helping patients in their recovery, making sure that they're working on the things that they need to get back home, and also to be proficient in caring for themselves and getting the knowledge they need. But there's also a big emotional aspect as well to recovery and adjusting with injuries, and I think that's something our unit really excels at.
This floor is special. I've been to China and New York and California and Texas and everywhere for therapy, and here in Little St. George is the best therapy on the planet.
Every day we celebrate those small steps, but when the patient actually walks out of here and we see that progress from when they came in to when they are leaving, there's actual tears shed with pride, you know.
Lindsay and Steve have given me, and Scott have given me the ability to live.
In September I'm getting married, and you get to be there I'm really excited for that. Sorry, I haven't really started my life yet, so I'm excited for you to be a part of that. And I'll have children soon, and you'll be their grandpa, and I'm excited for that too. I'm glad you are still here. It was really scary.